Everybody, welcome to Adopted and Tortured. My name is Chrissy Coons. I am from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Um, this story is going to be, I'll put in like 15-20 minute videos at a time, kind of like a storybook almost, and it's a very touchy subject, and it's a real life, true life subject about my life. A lot of things have happened throughout my life that, one, weren't fair to me, two, weren't fair to my family, three, things that, well, let's just say abuse of all sorts, um, for which there was no prosecution, and I'll explain and get to all that later. Today I'm going to start with the subjects of where I was born and so on. I was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana on February 6, 1989. I am 28 years old now. I was born my mother's house. Beautiful woman. She, when she had me, she had already had my two older brothers, and then after me had two more boys. I was her only girl, and during the first about 5 years of my life, we moved from place to place a lot. I remember that much. And it eventually got to the point where we were homeless, and we were living with a family relative. And during that period of time, CPS was called, and we were taken away from my mother. Initially because of her being homeless, us being homeless, and not having a place to go. We were taken away from my mother through CPS, and we were put in, my two older brothers were put into a home with other relatives. It had been my step-grandmother that took care of my two older brothers. But CPS, due to reasons that I'll explain later, wanted to separate us three younger kids from my two older brothers. My two younger brothers and I went to a foster home in LaGrange County. In the foster home, they had a pretty decent sized house. They lived on a big farm. And I was 5, 6 years old. My memory of a lot of this was it's not as fresh in my mind because I was so young. But while I was there, issues of sexual abuse started to arise. I started acting out sexually at a very, very young age, 5, 6 years old. And that's when accusations were made that I was molested while we were still living with my biological mother. And I can say for sure that I was. I was sexually molested. As far as penetrated, I never remember that happening. it was an accusation later on that I was penetrated. There's no proof of that whatsoever, and I don't believe that happened. I'm not 100% sure of who exactly molested me. I do have a very strong suspicion of who it was. That family member I do not talk to, I do not associate with, um, because I am 99% sure this is who it was. Um, so, at the foster home, we were there for about a year or so, maybe a little over a year. I celebrated my 6th birthday there. Um, I had issues at that age, probably due to the sexual abuse and um, being traumatized from being taken away from my mother and my 2 older brothers. I was having issues with having urinating accidents, um, and they would punish me at about that time by making me sleep on the front porch. They would spank us, and I'm not sure about other states, but I know in Indiana, you're not to, if you're a foster parent, you are not to put your hands on a foster child in any aggressive manner. Corporal punishment is against the law, and um, they did use corporal punishment. Um, so after the accusations of the sexual abuse, and I guess to get in more detail about what they found concerning was I would sit on their oldest son's laps and I would just start kissing him and kind of making out with him, which was very inappropriate and very not right for 5, 6-year-old to be um, doing things like that and stuff they wouldn't know about unless it's happened to them or they've seen it happen. Um, but I was extremely, extremely sexually um, active, even though I didn't really know what sex was at the time. I mean, I didn't know anything about the penetration at that point in my life. I thought um, sex was just bodies rubbing up and down against each other and kissing. And that's exactly how I expressed my sexual behavior, because that's what I thought it was. Um, I, hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's alright. Sorry, guys. I have 3 chihuahuas who bark at every noise possible. um, so excuse me for their behavior if they do bark. Um, Another issue that they had with the sexual behavior, I do not remember this, but I'm being told that um, while I was staying in that foster home, me, their daughter, and another foster child, a female foster child, were found in a chicken coop, and we were touching on each other, kissing on each other, and stuff like that. Ren, knock it off. Um, which is, very inappropriate. I mean, for children our age. I mean, we were young. Um, and children our age should not know about stuff like that unless they have been through it themselves or have seen it or witnessed it. They got upset. I can't really say they got upset, but they got concerned when I refused to sit on the foster dad's lap or for him to hug me or anything like that, even though I was acting sexual toward um, my sibling or towards the foster siblings. I was really uncomfortable with my foster dad. And to this day, I can't really explain why. Um, After the corporal punishment came out to the Department of Family and Children, um, and they removed me from they removed me and my two younger brothers from the foster home, and put us with another family in LaGrange County, in Indiana. Um, we eventually, this family, when I was 9 years old, they adopted me and my two younger brothers, as well as another child, a newborn baby, um, from another family. She was not biologically related to me and my younger brothers. But we were all adopted. I'm pretty sure it was the same day. We were all adopted. But from the beginning and from the get-go of being in that foster home, they had very corporal, abusive, demeaning punishments that went way beyond abuse, and they got away with all of it. From the beginning, they would fill up a water spray bottle, and they'd fill it up with vinegar. And if we were doing something that they didn't like, they didn't approve of, or they didn't, or they didn't allow or give us permission to do, or what have you, we would get sprayed with the vinegar bottle. And a lot of times, majority of the times, it went straight into our face, our eyes, our mouth, our nose. And of course, anybody who's ever experienced with vinegar or anything, in the area of the face or whatever, it burns. It burns really bad. And, would get it in open cuts and in our mouth. They'd spray it directly in our mouth and make us hold it there for several minutes while they scolded us and gave us, discipline talks or what have you. They also did the same thing with hot sauce. They would get taco sauce from Taco Bell, the fire sauce, and they would force it in our mouth and make us hold it there for a good 5-10 minutes without swallowing it while they lectured us even some more. And they also had a punishment of, and this is what they used most often, was force feeding me and my two younger. Actually, I don't ever remember them being force fed, but they would force feed me oatmeal made with water. They knew I couldn't stand it, and they would shove it in my mouth, spoonful by spoonful. And if I gagged or I threw it up, I would be forced to eat it. Behind that story, another detail is I am a type 1 diabetic. I was diagnosed when I was about 11 years old. So they felt, supposedly, that I needed to eat the whole bowl of oatmeal, and I needed to eat it all so I could take my insulin so my blood sugar wouldn't be messed up. I do not feel that was the actual case. I actually think they got pleasure from force feeding it to me, shoving it down my throat, back to back to back. If I threw up, I was forced to eat it. Same with the hot sauce, same with hot peppers, same with soap, vinegar. I'm trying to remember. I think that's about all they had used to spray us with or force down our throats or what have you. They also had when I was 9 years old, my first day of 4th grade, I had started menstrual cycles. And my menstrual cycles were extremely, extremely, extremely heavy, and I had no control over them. So I would bleed through my clothing. I would, and I would change my, and I know this is probably TMI, but I would change my pants like every hour, and I would still bleed through, and I would get in trouble for that. I found out later on in my life, once I was an adult, that I have endometriosis, which is the reason why I have such heavy periods. And I was being punished because of this, because I was having these bleeding through my clothes, and it wasn't my fault. They would make me go outside and scrub my clothes by hand in the cold, in the winter, in the cold, whatever. I would made to scrub, and they would have to be completely clean. And then I would take them inside and I'd put them in the washer once they approved that they were clean enough. Another issue I had, and this came with the diabetes, and one of the reasons why I was taken to the doctor when I was diagnosed with the type 1 diabetes was I was having accidents during the day, during the nights, and I was having a lot of them. For about a year, they accused me of being lazy and not wanting to make it, or not wanting to go to the bathroom, which is, I think, stupid and pitiful. I think, why would somebody be so lazy they didn't want to get up to go to the bathroom? So they would force me, and they also did this with my periods. They would force me to walk around the house in a t-shirt and a Depends diaper. Sorry, it's kind of gets to me a little bit. Sorry. That tortured me. That really, it was embarrassing. Not only was it embarrassing, it was cruel. It was demeaning. It was everything you could possibly think of in bad terms. They didn't care who saw, who did it. People witnessed a lot of this stuff, and nothing was ever reported. I myself also didn't report some of this because they had it impounded in my head that it was normal, that parents did this stuff, that they this is how all parents punish their children, and I didn't realize that wasn't the case at the time. I think I'm going to stop it here for today and pick up from here tomorrow. So come back tomorrow, subscribe to my channel. If you enjoyed the video, please send it a like. If you're interested in hearing the rest of the story, and any other videos I may post, go ahead and subscribe down below, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Alright, talk to you guys tomorrow. Lots of love. Bye.